Ladies and gentlemen, they're playing their usual games again. Democrats are playing their usual games, and it's so transparent and it's so overt, and it's pretty much in your face. They're telling you what they're doing. They're not happy that they couldn't find collusion after 2 years of a sprawling, never-ending investigation without a predicate crime funded by Madam Secretary, Madam Cyberhack. A Steele dossier that not only is still unverified, it was always a bunch of nonsense, actually compiled with Russian sources. The same. Notice how when they say dirt on Trump or dirt on Hillary, because they're like, Trump Jr. meaning he wanted dirt on Hillary with the Russians. Actually, Natalia Veselnitskaya has no direct link to Putin. But want to know who does? One of the Russian intelligence officers, according to Vanity Fair, who helped compile the Steele dossier, or helped give information to Christopher Steele when he was compiling the Steele dossier. Now, luckily for Christopher Steele, and maybe even Clinton, the Steele dossier is it's a garbage document, according to Bob Woodward even, and it's complete and utter fake, phony nonsense. Nothing in there is accurate. Nothing. I've read the Steele dossier. I've read the 400 pages of the Mueller report. It's all a bunch of fabricated nonsense. It's Comey, James Comey said, Jeff Sessions, staff member said, Michael Cohen said, people think Trump wanted to do something. They didn't find any collusion, and they knew that in 2016. So Trump never obstructed anything. They basically had free reign. They were ruining people's lives. They could do anything they wanted. It was a team compiled of only Clinton partisans. Clinton partisan Mueller probe started by James Comey leaking classified memos, according to Chuck Grassley, and not only a criminal act, but part of the criminal statute that I talk about in my Federalist articles. Check them out. Comey, Strzok, and McCabe are going to be charged eventually under the statute for people who conspire to defraud the United States government. You have Strzok saying, we will stop Trump. You have Andrew McCabe, who didn't recuse himself. And notice how they always want everyone near Trump to recuse themselves. His wife took hundreds of thousands of dollars from Terry McAuliffe and Democrats. And then he lies under oath to make it seem like he's tough on the Clinton Foundation. This is why the Office of Professional Responsibility at the FBI canned Andrew McCabe. But getting back to this, now they're saying that William Barr, that Mueller has complained that Barr's letter did not capture the context of the Trump probe. Mueller objected to Barr's description of Russia investigation's findings. Who cares? Everyone knows categorically, the Mueller report categorically states there's no collusion, there was no grandiose endeavor to conspire against Hillary Clinton. Actually, the opposite is true. It was Clinton. If there are journalists on the left or anywhere that say, "Oh, well, we knew that this Russia thing was nonsense," no, you have to bring up Clinton. If you don't say that it's all started from Clinton's financing and Clinton muddying the waters to justify her election loss, you haven't really debunked the whole Russian myth, the Russian hacking, the Russian collusion nonsense. By the way, we don't know if Russia hacked the DNC. CrowdStrike is the only company to look at DNC servers, and they were outsourced by, guess who? Democrats, at the behest of Hillary Clinton. So it's a whole bunch of nonsense. It is a whole bunch of nonsense. But now they're saying that William Barr didn't. Now they're after him. And he doesn't care. The great thing about William Barr, unlike Sessions, Sessions did not want to deal with this. Sessions do whatever you want. There's a bunch of people who on this horrific chat board called LMNOP. They'll just say that I planned something really good to help Trumpy. And I don't want to be treated badly by the press. Meanwhile, William Barr is not only going to bat for Trump, but they are trying to undermine, they are trying to sabotage William Barr. CNN, 19 minutes ago, William Barr is in deep trouble. Now they're saying he might have perjured himself. This is hilarious. If there's one person who could run rings around all of them in terms of intellect, it's William Barr. The guy is a pretty smart guy. And he also knows department rules. He knows this is his second time as Attorney General. So it's like, they're trying to say, here we go. So Attorney General William Barr did two strange things between the time he received special counsel Robert Mueller's report on Russian interference in the 2016 election and when he released it to Congress. By the way, they didn't interfere. If they bought Facebook ads, it's not an example of interference. Sorry. You're saying they hacked the DNC to inform us what? That Bernie Sanders was cheated? So between that and David Fahrenthold, the Washington Post, finding the Access Hollywood tape, nobody says that the Washington Post interfered. So they're trying to level the accusation alongside with WikiLeaks. Like it's like some kind of foreign plot to let us know how corrupt Clinton and Democrats were in cheating Bernie Sanders. This is because Bernie Sanders was cowardly and promoted the same myth that says he and Jill Stein were part of a Russian, big Russian operation to inform the country that Bernie was cheated. Doesn't mean that it didn't happen. Bernie Sanders is also complicit in trying to erase history. Don't worry, if you listen to this channel, I'll repeat about 4 or 5 important things every single episode, every single segment. And then I'll mix it in with new information. But I will repeat themes because they've tried to erase history, but not with a guy like me. Sorry, not going to erase history. You're not going to erase history. It happened, and I will never, ever, ever, ever forget certain things that took place, especially Bernie being cheated. Now, thank God Trump won. He's an infinitely better president than Bernie would have ever been. If Democrats say jump, Bernie would say how high. And he still doesn't get love. He gets booed on stage the other day. I mean, it's like the Democratic Party is... It's like this whole other world. The first came on March 24th, 2 days after receiving the Mueller report. Barr released a 4-page summary letter in which he made clear his conclusion that the report found no collusion. No, it's not his conclusion. It's the report found no collusion. There was no collusion. The specific statements that were made in the dossier and the specific statements that were made every single day by CNN and MSNBC and the Washington Post and the New York Times, Trump is his presidency, he could be indicted on... No. He never contacted anyone to do... He had no part of the alleged Russian hacking of the DNC, which never happened. Almost certainly never happened. And he had nothing to do with Facebook ads. And he had nothing to do... the Trump Jr. meeting was not illegal. That's why nobody got indicted. And if finding out dirt on your political opponent with a foreign country is a criminal act, then Hillary Clinton should be sent to Pelican Bay or whatever. Because she's the one. The Ukraine literally has a criminal probe on Clinton right now. Because she tried to find out information on Manafort. So anyway, the first came March 26th. So they don't like his audacity that he just threw a wet blanket over their ridiculous, absurd theories. I mean, the second came on the morning of April 18th when Barr, with Deputy Attorney General Rod Rosenstein at his side, held a press conference to reiterate those findings in remarkably Trumpian language. No, CNN. No, Mr. Saliza. No, it wasn't Trumpian language. It was just normal, unfortunately for you and CNN and the Democratic Party, just normal, very clear, direct language, like there was no collusion and no obstruction. So, but he thought of doing this. This is what the Democrats think. He thought of doing something. Clinton wiped her server, destroyed cell phones with hammers, refused to give her servers to the FBI, deleted emails that were already demanded by Congress. She had Brian Pagliano refuse to subpoena. Now with William Barr, they're like, oh my God, we have to arrest him. This is Robert Reich wrote this in the Newsweek. They're losing their marbles. And meanwhile, the Justice Department, okay, look, what are they going to do? They don't have the Senate, so they can't remove Trump. They don't have the Senate, thank God. They don't have the Senate. Okay? They have the House by lying to their voters, saying that they're going to abolish ICE and implement Medicare for all. This is legislation that they can easily vote on. They're the biggest grifters. They deceive their voters, and their voters love to be deceived. They love it. It's like a fetish or something. But Mueller complained that Barr's letter did not capture the context of the Trump probe. Yeah, the context was Robert Mueller was the FBI director while yellowcake uranium was shipped out of the country. That's in the New York Times. Yes, that's right. Yellowcake was shipped out of the country. Mueller complained that Barr's letter did not capture it. So according to three people, according to a copy of a letter reviewed Tuesday by the Washington Post, a copy of the letter? How do you even know you got the right copy? Did not capture the full context. The letter and subsequent phone call between the two men reveal a degree to which longtime colleagues and friends disagreed as they handled the legally and politically fraught task of investigating the president. But they didn't investigate the president. James Comey said he wasn't under investigation. That's the funny thing about all of this. Okay, let's see. Comey says President Trump wasn't under investigation. LA Times. June 8th, 2017. Right there. He wasn't under investigation. He wasn't under investigation. Then Comey says he fears possible counter investigation after Mueller report. Yeah, gee, you think? What the chickens are coming home to roost. You reap what you sow. You're up the creek without a paddle. What else? Mess with the best, like the rest. What else can you do? What else can you say? They couldn't find anything. Now, right before the possible, because he's not going to show up, they want him to speak to. So what they do is they make it impossible for William Barr to testify, because they're like, you got to speak to our lawyers also. It's like, what? I don't need to speak to your lawyers. For what purpose? They didn't have lawyers speak to Attorney General Loretta Lynch. They didn't have lawyers speak to Comey. They didn't have lawyers speak to Strzok. But you have to speak to our lawyers. It's like, well, why? And we want Deutsche Bank and Capital One to give us all of Trump's records. Well, why? What did he do? He didn't do anything. We just want him. We think that he did something. That's not how it works. Imbeciles. We think that he did something, and we want everything that we want. And we're going to use the power of Congress. Like, no, you're in Congress to vote on legislation, you buffoons. Oversight. This is not oversight. You're an extension of the Democratic Party. They're not doing anything. This is only helping Trump. Because there's nothing really you can get him on. The only thing you could possibly get him on is vote on Medicare for all legislation, which is not feasible because the Mercatus study says you'd have to double to triple tax collection. And they're not going to run in 2020 on doubling to tripling taxes or even raising taxes 50 to 60% or 20%. They're not going to run on that. They're not going to run on that. And Democrats are just utilizing AOC as their this religious figure that preaches about ethics and morality. Meanwhile, the rest of humanity is like okay. She has her own campaign finance violations, which are hilarious. And it's like her claim to fame was taking 107,000 jobs away, removing them away, 107,000 direct and indirect jobs, because the 25,000 Amazon employees would have been 40,000 Amazon employees, because the headquarters was supposed to be built for 40,000 people. That would have resulted eventually in 107,000 direct and indirect jobs. I mean, the economic activity, the economic growth in that area, the median income, I think, was only 30-something thousand a year. But whatever. It is so obvious. So now Mueller complained about the report because now they're going after Julian Castro. Attorney General Barr willfully misled the American people to cover up attempted crimes by Donald Trump. You still haven't explained what the crimes were. Obstruction of justice, because it sure wasn't collusion. So he should resign his post or face impeachment. Now they want to impeach William Barr. Now they want to impeach William Barr. Oh my God, Jerry Nadler. Oh my God, he has the letter Q in there. Q, did Bob Mueller support your conclusion? Oh my, well, there you go. Like I said, that message board's run by Democrats. I'm joking. It's a complete nonsensical scam. Do not believe in LMNOP. But here you see Jerry Nadler, his last tweet. It's kind of hilarious. It's hilarious. In light of Mueller's letter, the misleading nature. Barr's 410 testimony, misleading nature. Barr must bring the letter with him when he testifies the Senate tomorrow. And it's time for Mueller to testify publicly now. Good. Do it. Bring it on. And Republicans are going to grill Mueller on the Steele dossier and the fact that his team gave $50,000 to Democrats. They're gonna the fact that Peter Strzok was once on his team, Lisa Page was once on his team. Let's see the fact that when did he know that there was no collusion? When did he know there was no evidence? Why is the ODNI and DHS reports? Why did they say that there's just simply judgments? Why did Mueller put Company One in indictments that was CrowdStrike? If they ask him that, it is game over. Company One in the indictments of Russian intelligence officers who allegedly hacked the DNC is CrowdStrike. Why would Mueller use a third-party tech firm outsourced by the Democratic Party in an indictment to go after foreign nationals for hacking the DNC to inform us that Bernie Sanders was cheated? It is so overt. Everything they do is to kind of protect their own criminal behavior. So they presided over 20% of U.S. uranium capacity. Putin owns mines in Utah. He owns 20% of U.S. uranium capacity at one point. Now it's like 3 or 4 or 5%. That's the rebuttal. Whatever. He's supposed to be a hostile foreign power. He's owning part of our energy reserves. Are you serious? Are you kidding me? Or at least uranium reserves? Are you kidding? No other president would allow that to happen. I mean, it would be, not only would it be unthinkable, it would be comical, like satire. But of course, that's okay. In President Obama's administration, anything goes. The media is like, that was above board. There's no problem at all. It's just a commodity. Like pork bellies. It's like, no, we can't really make make the most dangerous weapon known to man from pork bellies, so. Ladies and gentlemen, they want Barr impeached. It's kind of hilarious. It is hilarious. They're melting because they know what's going on. Madam Secretary is about to run, and they have to just muddy the waters. They only have the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court will strike them down. They don't have the Senate. They don't have the presidency. They don't have the intelligence community. They just have a bunch of maniacal people in Congress and they have the media. But really, the cat's out of the bag. They already know. Everyone already knows that there was no collusion. The whole thing was nonsense. Now they're trying to get him on obstruction, but they haven't explained what this unlawful, determined team of Clinton voters. Because you think one of these people voted for Trump? Not one person on the Mueller team voted for Trump. Not one. They all voted for Clinton. And they all gave money to Democrats. I'm saying not all, but like they said, 5 or 6 gave money. But they're all Democratic partisans. You think that if they found evidence, they wouldn't have indicted Trump? You can indict a sitting president if he committed crimes. This whole, you can indict a sitting president, It's like, well, why start the probe then to begin with? If you weren't going to indict Trump, why start the probe? I thought that was the whole thing. You had pundits saying, he's not going to make it out of 6 months. He's going to be indicted. He's going to be kicked out. The 2020 election can't come soon enough. Hillary running can't come soon enough, because she will. Be here on this channel the day and the week she does, because it's going to be awesome. Ladies and gentlemen, hit subscribe right now. Check out my articles in the Federalist below. Check out my my HA2A, my firearms channel. I just uploaded my new AR. It's pretty awesome. And ladies and gentlemen, my Patreon is below if you want to support my voice long term. It's below in the pinned comment. Thank you so very much. They want to impeach Barr. It's like, okay, you failed for 2 years. You might as well continue the losing streak. Thank you so very much.